Hey everyone, it's Cesar here, and I'm just going to be showing you what I got as a secret package from FedEx. So I've already opened it up here, so these are the contents, and ta-da! We have got a pre-production copy of Cauldron Master and the Magic Mayhem expansion cards with the Witch Meeple. So let me just go on ahead and just open it up and show you guys. I'm just as excited as you because I have literally no idea how it's going to come out. So scary times, eh? Right. So the packaging is really good quality, actually. Just what I'd expect of Watts. So really pleased about that. And Sebastian's done a great job with the box design. You can see it's really nice and clear, and particularly happy with what Sebastian did of these, the back of the box. And you can see that, you know, it depicts the character cards, the ingredient cards, and the cauldron cards there as well. We've also put Paul Grogan's Game the Rules logo on there just to show that he did the rules. So yeah, let's go on ahead and take a look. So here's the rulebook. They folded it out for us, which is really nice. And actually, oh, it's interesting. So the material of the rulebook is actually much more shiny than I was expecting, but it's actually really nice. It's really thick material. So yeah, on the first page, you just got the components and sort of a list of them there, and how many there are. And then on the second page, just an overview, and then the game setup, how you're supposed to set it up. And as we did with Lab Wars, we color-coded that. That seemed to be quite popular. And then we've got a sequence of play on the third page. A bit text heavy, I'll admit, but there was sort of no other way of doing it within the 4 pages. And then a few rules clarifications there with some examples from page 3. And then just a few thanks to everyone, and also the end of the game. So that's the rule book. And then let's take a look at the box. So I asked them to put a divider in there, and what was really nifty about it is they've actually put these finger holes, or whatever you want to call them, in there as well. So that's really nice and nifty, and something I wasn't expecting. So really pleased with that. So let's go on ahead. One really cool thing about Watts is that they have these really cool premium cellophane wraps. So they have this thing where you can just use your little finger there and open it up relatively nicely like that. So I really like that about their production values. So these are the cards. So we have right here the green ingredient cards, and one of the things I was actually a little bit worried about was were they going to come out dark, because we actually received dark cards from our print-on-demand manufacturer that we sent out to reviewers, and you can see that this isn't the case at all. So it's really pleased with that. You can see really nice, bright and airy. So these are the green common cards. I'll just go through them for those who don't know the rules that well. Essentially these are the most common ingredient cards, and those are the scoring. So you need to get 1 cricket, 2 cricket, or 3 crickets to get that many points per cauldron. And the scoring is applied to that particular type, so you need crickets rather than the green colours. For those who are colourblind, we introduced iconography there, and that was actually a suggestion by Ed Baraff, one of the reviewers who reviewed the game, and it's actually worked out really nicely. So we have the rarest cards, the red cards. These are the Catskulls. There are only 3 of them in the deck, and again, if you get 1 of them in the cauldron, you get 4 points. So if you get 2, you get 12. And if you have 3 Catskulls, you get 24 points. So these are really highly sought after, and but you have to be careful about picking it at the right time and playing your witches correctly. These are some of the objective cards. We call them recipe cards. Essentially, they're given to each player at the beginning of the game, and essentially you get extra points per time that you fulfill them per cauldron. So for instance, if you get any 2 red cards, you get 3 extra points, but if you get 2 bats hearts, you get 6 points. So there's something to work towards right from the beginning. So there's 9 of these, I think. Let me just double check in the rule book. 9 recipe cards, yes. My memory doesn't fail me for once. So those are the recipe cards, and these are the scorecards that you guys voted for. So essentially, they're double-sided, and some people asked how they worked because they weren't familiar with them. So essentially, there are 2 cards that you need to put together. Let me just move this down here a little bit. So you put the 2 cards together, one below the other, and essentially you start off like this, and you just read it from the bottom to the top and add them together. So right now you would start with 0 points, but then if you score, for instance, 2 of the red cards, for instance, like 2 bats, hearts and 1 cauldron, you score it, you would get 12 points. And then how you would do that is, to indicate it, is lower this down to the 2, and then you flip this over to the 10. So you go 2 plus 10, you get 12. And you continue to do this throughout the game, and so forth. So those are the scorecards. We've also double-backed the single-digit scorecards so that once you've reached the 79 mark, you can just flip this one over, and then you can say, oh, okay, well, I've got plus 80, and then you can carry on there. So if, for instance, you do manage to score 90 points or whatever, you can have plus 80 plus 10 is 90, and that's that, really. Those are the scorecards. So really appreciate you guys voting for that. Let's carry on here, and I can show you the cauldrons, etc. Again, some nice nifty premium wrapping there. Let's put this aside. There we go. So these are the cauldron cards. So everyone will be dealt 3 cauldron cards. So there's a 2 cauldron card, and then a 3 cauldron card, and then a 4 cauldron card. I'm actually running out of space here. Let's put it like this here. So there you go. 2, 3, 4. And essentially that is where you put your ingredients. Now the trick is you've got to be careful how you score them, because as soon as you fill up one of the cauldrons, you've immediately got to make your potion and score the points on your scorecards. So that's one of the things you need to balance throughout the entire game. And that's literally it. If you want to be risky, you can put them in the 4 cards, but then do you score less points, when you pick them up from the supply here? So those are the cauldron cards. And then, so this was one of the stretch goals, is that everyone has basically everyone unlocked the amateur card. And this isn't in the rule book. This is something we're probably going to put into the onto the website just for a rules clarification. But essentially it's the same as the apprentice card. As you can see, they both do the same thing. Now there's only 1 of the amateur card, but there's 4 of the apprentice cards, and I'll go through the witch cards in a second. But essentially what you would do if you want to play with the amateur card is you're essentially using it as a way to indicate who gets the witch meeple, to indicate who gets the tie break situation right from the beginning. So you would take 3 apprentice cards if you're playing a 4-player game and the amateur card, shuffle them up. Don't know if you can hear my cat in the background. And then you would deal them face down to the 4 players. And then whoever has the amateur card, which is this dude here, they would get the tie-break witch meeple. And that's how you play with the amateur card. You don't need to play with the 4th one if you don't want to, or indeed if you don't want to play at all with the amateur card and just deal the apprentice out and give the witch meeple to whoever was the last person to watch a horror movie, as the rules indicate, then you can do as you wish. It's entirely up to you. I just thought the amateur card was quite a nice little touch to the game, and thank you to everyone that voted for this particular image that Ksenia, our artist, drew. So let's go through the witch cards. Again, really nice. I'm really pleased that they've come out ultra bright. Again, I was a bit concerned about them coming out dark, but the light on the camera is on just to give it a little bit of light, but in broad daylight, this is absolutely lovely, and really pleased with how they've panned out. So just quickly, for those who aren't too familiar with the rules, so everyone gets one of each type of card. Of which card? So you would get the one apprentice card, one mage, one herbalist, one shaman, and one goddess. So everyone's given one of these cards, and essentially you're using these cards as a way to bid for turn order. How do they bid for turn order? Well, you just look at these numbers, and that determines who goes first in that situation. So if player one, so this is a typical sequence of maybe a 2-player game. Player one plays down one of their cards, and then I place down my mage card. You flip it over to reveal who's played what, and the first player, the other player, has chosen the apprentice cards. I've got the mage. Well, number 1 is lower than 2, and so the apprentice would go first. However, in the situation where we'd both played the mage card like so, then the person with the witch meeple basically goes first in that situation, and in a 3 or 4 player game, it then goes clockwise depending on where the tiebreak meeple is. So that's the turn order, and then once it's that player's turn, you would then look at the bottom bit, and it would tell you what ingredients you can pick up and put in your cauldron. So I played the mage, so as you can see, there are 2 icons there. It basically says I can pick up 2 of either the green or the orange coloured cards. So that means I can pick up an orange and a green, or a green and a green, or orange and orange. It's entirely up to you. That's what that indicates. Similarly with the goddess, she can pick up 2 of the green, orange, or the reds. So this is why she goes 5th, because she gets the most amount of flexibility in terms of what she can pick up. Shaman, similarly, she can pick up a red, green, and an orange, and then an additional 1 green or orange, and so forth. So the whole trick of the game, if we just quickly lay it out, would be something like, let's just pretend that I've shuffled here, that I'd go in a 2-player game. Let's do that. 1, 2. That's my cat, Charlie. If you can hear him, he's trying to come back into the house. So please excuse him. So let's just say we've done this. All right. So if I just do it from above, give us some space. So we've now got a situation where we've just dealt out 8 cards, as we do for a 2-player game, and then as we've done before, the other player has chosen the apprentice card, while I have played the mage card. Now, in this situation, I told you that the apprentice goes first. Now, she can't pick the raven's head or the other raven's head, and neither can the mage. However, she can pick up any other green or orange card, but just one singular one. Now, since the orange cards or yellow cards are more, they give you more points, you would really want to pick up the orange card because it gives you more points. However, there's already another Frog's Blood out there, and the mage is also likely to take it. So there's that toss-up as well. So then you have to figure out, what's the mage going to take? Well, you don't want him then to take the 2 Frog's Blood, because then that's going to give them 6 points. So really, you want to scupper them and take the Frog's Blood and hope that they would come out later, in which you can pick another witch. So then that's your turn done. You would put the Frog's Blood in one of your cauldrons, in the 2, 3, 4, entirely up to you where you put them, and then put the side. Now, one thing I failed to mention about the cauldron cards is they're not color-coded. So unlike a previous version, you might have seen one of the reviews where you had to pick specific cards. Any ingredient cards can be put in these cauldrons. So for instance, this one says 2 cards. Now I can put a Frog's Blood in there now for the time being. That's my turn over. But the next turn, I might just want to pick up the raven's head if I play the shaman or the witch goddess, and do that. It's entirely up to you. Now, then it's the mage's turn. Let's just say we took the Frog's Blood. It's entirely up to you how you do it. For instance, you may just want to go, no, I don't want the frog's blood, and just pick up 2 swamp moss. And then that gives me 3 points, and then I can just score that straight away if I put it in the Mage's 2 Cauldron there and then score it. So that's the scoring for the game. The only final thing to say is just have a quick look at the Witch Meeple, which I'm really chuffed about. Sebastian did the original mock-up of this on the graphic, and I thought that was really, really nice. But I was really surprised when they came out and sent me a picture. That is just so cool. I mean, look at that. So you can even see this small indentation there to indicate that they've picked it up, and there's a broomstick, and you know, just something silly and fun for those who backed the expansion pack. Now I'm just going to quickly go over the Magical Mayhem expansion pack. So for those that went for the sort of the deluxe version of the game, I'm going to sign all of those for you guys, and I'll be sending out a message to you guys whether you want it signed on the back or the front or the inside. Entirely up to you. Let me just. Ooh, wow, this is really difficult to open from. So you can either get it signed, you know, top underneath the lid or the dividers, whatever you want. So I'll be talking to you guys about that. Now, the Magical Mayhem cards are they're all unique basically, and I think they're pretty cool. They add an extra dimension to the game that some playtesters were saying would add an extra feel to it and an extra bit of spice. So what we've done is we've added a double-sided explanation of the rules of how you play with them. Essentially, you just add them as normal to the ingredients deck because they are just ingredient cards, really. Except they're sort of like accelerators. And they'll be indistinguishable from the rest of the deck there until you actually flip them over. So how do you know they're an expansion card? Well, they always contain this icon here, which indicates you get this bonus for having it in the cauldron and score it. So some of them are worth more than others, and essentially we've also color coded them to an equal degree rather than skewing it like we did with the basic version, just to give it a little bit more randomness to the game. So there are 12 cards, so there's Beetlejuice, Scorpion's Tail, Foxgloves, Hemlock, Feather of an Owl, Graveyard Dust, Skunk's Essence, Rabbit's Ears, Unicorn's Horn, Dragon's Breath, Werewolf Hair, and Vampire's Fangs. So actually, a vast majority of these cards were actually suggested by those from Board Game Geek. So big shout out to those guys. I did thank you in the thread. So how do these work? Well, again, you shuffle them in with the rest of your ingredients, rest of your deck, and sometimes they'll come out. So let's just say the Vampire's Fangs have come out and the Rabbit's Ears, something like that. So let's just say they've come out like this. There we go. And I'll just show you guys from above. So let's just say in this situation, this is what's been dealt out, not the cauldron, another Spider-Man. So in this situation, it's the same principle applies in how you pick up the cards. So the Raven's heads are red, but so are the Vampire Fangs. So only the Shaman and the Witch Goddess can pick those up. Now the Rabbit's Ears can be picked up by pretty much anyone. So how do you score them? Well, firstly, again, you need to check the color coding of them, and then whether you can put them in your cauldron. Now, the most important thing is here. What does it say at the bottom? Now, unlike the base game cards, they don't score you points by themselves, and instead it says you have to collect any 2 orange cards and score 4 points. That's how you score that card. If you don't fulfill it, as it says in the rules, you don't get those points, and that's why it's really important to sort of figure it out. Now, if no one picks up these cards, they get burnt at the end of the round so that they don't just hang around and stay there and waste space and you know, make the game longer. So that's pretty much it. If you don't manage to get 2 orange cards in your cauldron, then you don't get those points. Also, obviously, it would be silly to put it in your 2 cauldron, because then, you know, you need two other orange cards, and this is what it means here. You know, you need 2 other orange cards rather than the rabbit's ears contributing to that. And yeah, players must collect every item stipulated. They also count towards the recipe card bonuses. So I mentioned earlier that you get these recipe cards. So if I just show you here. So if you'd managed to have rabbit's ears and 2 other orange cards, let's say 2 more frog's blood, you get you know, a lot of points there. So for instance, you'd get the 6 points for the 2 frog's blood. You'd get an extra 4 points for the rabbit's ears because you've had 2 frog's bloods. Now remember, you don't have to have 2 frog's bloods, but obviously it gets you more points. So 6 plus 4 is 10. And then you add on top of that, you filled 3 of these orange cards together. You get an extra 3 points. That's 13 points. So you really get this really good feel of combination and card chaining through these bonus cards. So essentially that's it. I've unboxed the pre-production copy of Cauldron Master. I'm really chuffed to have shown you guys, and I really hope that you know, you enjoy the game. So I've been told by the manufacturer that as long as I approve the pre-production copy, which I hope you do approve of, and do please write comments below about how you feel about it, or if there's any rules clarifications that you'd like, then I'm going to approve it today, hopefully, and then we can get it hopefully made by either the end of next week or early the following, and then they will air freight it to me here in the UK for me to fulfill it to you guys. So I've been Cesar, and thank you very much for watching this video, and hope to speak to you guys soon. Bye.